Hello, welcome to my channel, Sunbeam Alpine Tiger Recreation Part 22. Yes, it's been a while, but you know what they say, there's ups and downs of life, but I assure you, I have not lost any interest in this at all. It's just been hard going through one or two things, but we won't go there. Now this will conclude every bit of welding now on the car. I've looked at a couple of points for the rollover bar which I want to fabricate and fit. Just want to make things easy while it's in this position, so as I'll cut some plates, pre-drill everything so as I can just put the plates in, then bolt it up. But that's that'll be somewhere further down the line. This is all ready now for painting, so enjoy this. If you know anybody, subscribe, even though they probably haven't got an Alpine or V8 Tiger, whatever. There's one or two tips involved, don't know, but it all helps, doesn't it? Enjoy. Thank you for watching. Bye. Okay, right, we're going to now show you that we need this plate. You can't buy these off the shelf, so you've got to make one, and the best way, this is coming out, so I'll wreck this taking it out, but I need to put one on opposite because all that's rotten as well, so we have to take all this lot out here. This is the biggest part and problem of what we've discovered underneath the chassis of this Alpine. So it's because it's an actual, for the leaf springs, a strengthening point, and when you're putting a lot of power down, you don't want that coming out and, you know, the wheels falling down the back of the road, whatever. So we all know that this is bulged out a bit, so as we know there's a fair bit of rot behind the back of there, as I showed you on the one underneath. Now we're going to get this plate, so what you want is like some brake cleaner or something, and just clean it so there's no grease on it at all, right? So your masking tape should stick to it, theoretically speaking. So I'm going to try and get this done with a new roll of masking tape. There's no particular way you need. Around there, like so, down, and then you want your piece over the top, and then obviously that'd be not like about a 90 degree in there, I would say. Now there's a little indentation cut out on the Alpine there. I don't know whether it's, so that could be cut out with the scissors. Let me just pull that off there like that. That'll be cut out. I think it's just a bit of a fold line. We don't need that. We'll come into there. So as you can see, now this should all pull off in one, if it hasn't stuck too much. So as the more tape you put on, the better it is for stability. This is your CAD masking tape, CAD design template, which comes off, and there you go. So as basically you've got your fold there like that. That'll be down on that corner at 90. You cut all this out with the scissors. Now it's still sticky on the back, so you stick that onto some 1.5 mil plate. Then all you've got to do is reverse it for the other side and you're ready to go. Simple. So as you put it back on again, just to make sure everything's looking hunky-dory. There is a little tab up there which you can put in. It's up to you. I choose not to because I'm going to weld across the top anyway. I might put a tab on it actually, thinking about it. Let's do it properly. I'll mark it. And it's about I'd say quarter of an inch, so 6 mil. So I'll put a tab on it. So as you can see, that will be for the top. I'll get that marked up in steel and then I'll flip it. And then what we've got to do is do it obviously in a mirror image. That will then do this section. We've got a bit more to do. And I've got to do some channel for this. We've got a plate on the inside because we found some rot through to the floor, and then we're going to do another strengthener up to here. This then will actually strengthen everything up through this with a plate on. So as we have the masking tape template on the plate, now then where you've got your bend line here, always mark it on the line so as you can put a straight edge all the way across there and mark it which way it's got to be bent, down out of that way or up out of that way, else you will get confused. You might make a bollock of it, we'll do it. Now the tab caused a little bit of a problem because of the kink in the masking tape. I have cut it and pulled it away a bit. It's best to have more plate on than not enough because you can always trim it back. So as everything here now I've done, so as I can pull everything off on there. And what you've got to realise then, if you do put, you've got your bend there, which I've marked it, and then you'll just go across like that, and that will do 90 degree. So as that's your bend line, and your tab comes back on itself like that. Now that tab can be refolded because it's got like a kink in it, back on itself to 90 degrees. So what we're going to do now, we're going to cut the plate. You can cut it with grinder, plasma, whichever you've got to hand, but if you take your time on it you can get good. So what we're going to do, we'll get it all cut out and then we can work out while it's in its flat position the bends. But what I'm going to do is flip the plate over and then I'll mark another one out. Now I couldn't find 1.5 mil, so as we've gone for 2 mil. It's a little bit thicker. It's always best to go up rather than come down in size. Because we are not far off with this plate. Now there is a tab. Now also I've noticed there is a tab the other side there as well. So as we theoretically we could have put another tab on there, but I'm not going to bother too much because I shall just put a tack weld on the original place. Now we've had a little bit of a problem with this bend, so as we've just, all we've done is we've just put a little cut in it and we've folded it in the vise. There is a little nick in there to pull it in, but we can sort that out later. Now this is a problem if you're going to do it. I would say add another 1/2 inch on because it's just not going in the press. So what I've got to do is I'm going to tack a piece of steel at the back of it, which I'll be able to grab it in the press, and then we can put our little kink in it. If not, I'm going to have to tediously do it by hand. We've opted for 2mm plate as well on this, but as you can see, so far it's looking brilliant. All I've got to do is the same for the other side, and we've got these flitch plates as nearly original. You can see that 2mm is not the best on a hand press, but we've nearly got it 90 degrees. We're going to lock it in the vise now and just pin it flat, so that should sort that out. But remember, just if you're going to do it, just don't do what I've done. Just add another extra ½ inch on the end. It'll make bending easy. It's not the best to use a small hand press for this stuff, but you'd use what you've got basically. We've managed to do this side, but like I say, we took the cut line from there because all this is fine here. This is actually 2mm. We've done all the inside of the hanger and strengthened that. There's a little bit of welding the underside. We've managed to get a couple of tacks down here and the underside. Not sure whether it was fully welded from manufacture down there, but that is obviously stronger than what was in there before. As I've previously said, this is not my doing. This is what the other guy did. Personally, I'd have gone all the way through, down, and blended it into there, but that's it. It's too much of a job to do it. Cut it all out properly. It will suffice, and it'll be fantastic because there's quite a bit of strength in there. We're just going through a few bad welds, what he has done. Now, if you have a look, this one now, let me just take that out a bit. This one now is ready to be cut out. Now the plate, what we've made for it, is more or less a perfect fit. However, I'm not going to take this out because this is the same again. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's perfect. So as you can see, we've marked a black line there. We're going to cut through there. We're going to just cut through that tack there. And I think there's maybe a little bit of a tack at the back. Not sure. Cut it through there, and then we'll manipulate it, and that should come off. And then also we're going to cut it through there. All this in here is absolutely perfect. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This plate alone in 2mm will totally reinforce the leaf hangers anyway, so there's no worries there at all. So I'm going to, although I've made the whole of this plate more or less, we're just going to cut it down that seam, which is going to make life easier, and it'll speed the process up a little bit. And also, while we've been on it with the anti-tramp bar mount, these are actually Ford Escort Mark II ones, fit to the chassis. We've rounded the edges off. Obviously somewhere down the line you're going to knock your knuckles up on them, rip your hands to pieces. I've already had a few escapades. So that's fully welded to the chassis. We've actually put an additional 2mm plate on the inside of the chassis, and we've welded at the back where we can. Those are going to be fine on them. So we're going to do the top one exactly the same as that. When we do this, let's get the plate cut out. So as you can see, we've cut that piece out. That's fine in there. See the rust filled up. That's why it was bulging it out for. And there you have it. So as if you've got a bulged outrigger, you'll know it's rotten. That's fine. That's fine. So what we'll end up doing is we'll cut it across here, across here, across here, and down there. Clean everything up, replace that with a bit of 2mm, and then put the new piece back in there, and that will sort that out, no problem. Right, so now we've cut it out, we'll clean all this up along here, we'll make a template for that. We'll put some 2mm in there. All this is perfect, fine. So I've trimmed the plate off, and as you can see, that will go something like that. We've got a bit of clean up to do in here, and once we've got that thing in there, we can weld all that in, and Bob's your uncle, all sorted. I am happy with that now to say that that'll be done, that'll be done, that'll be done. We've got to clean everything up as good as this. There's no rust on it whatsoever. Using the old Vactan, which neutralises everything. Then we'll do a primer, epoxy primer on everything. I'm just a bit cheesed off about this here, where I've caught it, so we'll just put like a little bit of a strip in there, just tack it, just so as it's not as flimsy as that. And we'll get to town on the bottom. We've done a bit of scraping. Can't see any more rot holes, rust, nothing. So really, it's not too bad. The only thing I'm not happy about is the old battery box thing, but I'm just going to go through that with a bit of seam sealer. Can't see any problems with that in the future. Then we'll get it all done, and then we'll do the Raptor coat. Perfect fit. Don't even need the magnet. Then we'll get some good weld all the way around that, ready for the next piece. And before anybody asks the question, yes, we have rust treated it all in there and as far as we can go. So we're just gonna weld the plate on now. Right, now that's welded in there, now we can just give that a bit of a linish down so as we can get our other piece in. And then also we're just going to put like a little bit of a strengthening in there from that hanger. So I'm just going to clean them few scabs up. We have the plate in, fully welded, tab, and we'll probably get a couple of tacks just round on the inside there, but I've found out that when I took this plate off originally, there's no tacks there at all. As soon as I cut them, it fell off. So it's not needed if you can. It's a bonus, but I'm just saying. Now, a lot of you will probably say, well, why didn't you put the excess on there when you've done that to drop into the hanger? But it's just the way I've done it. Just leave a little bit of a gap. You'll get loads of penetration in there, and that will strengthen that up. That'll be all welded up round here as well, and that will be a job in the town. All done now. You can see we've just welded up that hole. You will have problems welding old stuff, you always will do. I find it better to use a 0.6 wire and use a more of a carbon dioxide mix rather than a 20% mix of welding gases. You'll find the Argon 5 or 5 Shield or whatever you want to call it, 5% mix, and it's perfect for rusty stuff. You can see the welds are not too bad for an amateur, lol. And I've managed to get a few tacks up the back end, tabs in. There's just a little tail on there where you do struggle on thin stuff, but what you've got to remember, this is 2mm to the original body, which is like round about 1.5mm, whatever it adequates to in American spec steel. But as you can see, that is going to be absolutely fine now. So what we need to do now is concentrate on painting. We've just got another plate to put in here now, round the edges off on that, and I can honestly say then, apart from sorting a bit of paint out underneath there before the epoxy primer, just checking one or two things around, like what he's done here, some ugly welds around there, what needs smoothing out. So realistically, not a lot. We've just found some bits here where they've chopped through the bulkhead for the gearbox. So I'm quite happy with the way things are going at the moment. So let's get this horrible bit of welding sorted out, and then we can get this painted and raptored, and then we can get it back on its shiny side up, or dusty side up, as I would say. So we've got the gearbox mount, which we previously made this and powder coated it, which holds the gearbox in the correct place with its mount on. Now there's 4 holes drilled through the chassis, but I'm not happy with it because obviously the chassis is only like about 1.5 mil, maybe 2 mil maximum thickness. So I've machined some tube. So as we're going to drill the holes, slide the tube in, and then we're going to weld around the tube so as we can tighten these bolts up quite tight without actually crushing or causing any stress on the chassis. It will strengthen things up, and it's just peace of mind for me. So I'm going to get them drilled out now and get that sorted, and then we get in a bit closer. Now we've tacked them into position for the mount. We're just going to make sure the mount actually fits now before they're welded in. I've seen this happen so many times where somebody's drilled through, they haven't been level, they've come to put the mount on, and the last bolt they can't get in. So we'll just make sure before we weld these up. Yep, it's all perfect. We've got the bolts in. Now when I made this mount, I didn't make it symmetrical so as it can only go one way round, which I think that stops everybody who wants to take it apart in the future guessing they've got it upside down basically. So as you can see, it's offset for the mount one side, but also these are not symmetrical with these, so as you know it's going to fit perfect every time. Now these brackets I didn't do. I've got a little bit more weld to put in there off what the previous person did, and obviously we're going to address this up as well once it's welded up, so that'll be perfect, and then we can get some primer on that then. Well, we've done the hanger, the last anti-tramp hanger. We managed to get a little decent weld in there anyway. That's all that done and rounded off and ready. Same as the bottom one. We're just going to clean these things up now where the exhaust runs through on the chassis. The mounts are all done, and we've checked them to make sure everything's okay. That's all hunky-dory. So as apart from now putting a bit of anti-rust on everything, it's a good dose of anti-rust, and then we'll just sand anything on what's a bit rough on there. We'll give it some epoxy primer, and then we'll be I think ready for the final coat, which we use in the colour is Mitsubishi Nice, N-I-C-E. You could call it Nice Blue, which is very similar to the Gulf livery. So I'd like to get this done as a Gulf sort of replica, perhaps something like that. Not sure yet, still indecisive. So I think that's just going to sort of end this session. I think we've done well considering my health issues. One or two things going on. Don't really want to say much about it, but there you go. It's bit at a time, bit at a time, when I feel like it. And I'm sure everybody's been probably in that situation where, you know, things get a bit anyway, let's get this done, wrapped up, and onto YouTube. Please subscribe. I'll do a bit of an introduction at the start. Now this is as an absolute dosing of this rust preventer, killer, whatever it is, right into these holes. Everything we've done to prolong the life of this vehicle. When all this is gone dry, we will give it a final rub down by hand, and then we will then give it the Raptor. But as you can see, there's just a few little bits of filler where it's gone in here. We're gonna rake this out, and then we're gonna mask it off so as we can get like an inch of the Raptor just under where we need it, and the same with just this area here, so as that will give it protection. As you can see, it's had some repairs in its previous life. Now, interesting point, what somebody told me is this here, I thought these was patches. I thought that was quite done well for apparently it's manufacturer. It's how they've been made from new, and that one's exactly the same. So as I thought, the guy who did them was better than me. Lol. So as anyway, that's somebody's reassured me on that, so that's great. So I'm going to let that rust stuff now go off for a few days, and we can give it a rub down, get the edge primer on. Right then, we've done all the rust treatment on this as far as we're going to go. I don't want to use any of that preventative stuff, the solution, what goes into all the cavities. So as the aim is now to get the primer on it, the epoxy primer, and then we can just sort out a few areas. Then we're going to spray it with the blue protector, and that once the car is all done and finished, then I will use the cavity stuff, because some of it remains quite moist, which will protect it and stop it from rusting any further. So it's basically now we've got a very good solid base. So as I'm going to have a bit of a tidy up now, and I'm quite pleased with the way it's gone. It has took some time, but there you go. It looks almost new.